Megilas Ester. That's talking about on that night the king's sleep was disturbed. What disturbed the king's sleep? What does this mean? We said the king sleeping is really the random nature of life that completely conceals godliness until you don't even know that there's something to look for. Yeah. And all of a sudden that sleep was disturbed by certain aura, certain illumination, certain light that was revealed. We're going to learn what this light is. Now, it's described in Kabbalah in words of Kabbalah. And these words of Kabbalah are spheres and partufim, like we know already. So, the spheres that it's talking about here, by learning what each sphere and each term corresponds to, we're building a picture by ourselves of what the Arizal is saying. And what is this picture? Is an appreciation for that light that disturbed the king's sleep, right? Which is the secret of the Geula. Of course, the joke of it is that by contemplating this Indian Torah and by learning these Inyanim in Pnimis Torah, we're actually experiencing that light through us now. That's the power of the study of Kabbalah, and hence the study of Chassidus. So the Arizal calls it He'aris Yesod Abba Nukba Shelo Yedei Zar. So first, what is He'aris Yesod Abba? So we know the 10 spheres. We know that Chochma of Atzilus corresponds to a partzuf that's called partzuf Abba, and Bina corresponds to partzuf Ima. And Abba and Ima, Chochma, Bina are the two intellects, right? The wisdom and understanding. Mm-hmm. And they come about to bring Zal of Atzilus. And Zal of Atzilus is 6 spheres, Chesed, Gevura, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. And these six spheres are basically a complete structure of man. And this is the supernal man. This is the man of Atzilus, and the man of Asiya, which is man, which is us, corresponds to, but infinitely lesser than, its source, which is in Atzilus, which is the man of Atzilus, which is the source in Zan. Now, these 6 spheres correspond to the 6 dimensions. And in these 6 dimensions, all of the other worlds are included. So Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, all the other worlds that have time and space, and spirit, actually. Mm-hmm. So those 6 dimensions are included: the 3 dimensions of space, the 2 dimensions of time, before and after, and the 2 dimensions of spirit, which is light and darkness, good and evil.
So there's up, down, there's north, south, east, west.
Right, up, down.
Which is 4.
That's 4. Up, down is 6.
No, up, down, east, west. Wait.
Trust me on this. So there's 6 in the directions: north, south, east, west. Up and down. Those are 6-dimensional cube that we live in. That's 3 dimensions of space. Everything, all the distant planets, everything is made up of these 6 dimensions of space. Okay. And then you have before and after, which is time. Okay. Then you have the 2 dimensions of spirit. Which are? Good and evil, light and darkness. The same, depends how you want to look at it. All these 6 dimensions are basically, by the way, I mentioned 12 dimensions, but because the 6 dimensions, each one has 2 points, 2 sides, 2 states, before and after, so hence 6. Now, these 6 dimensions have their source in Zah of Atzilus. So that's where the form of creation, even the most highly spiritual worlds, the worlds of Beriah, Yitzir, and Asiya, totally spiritual realms, realms of all the angels, the realms of all the chambers, the Hechalos, and everything that is in there is still included in time, space, and spirit. So all of these have their blueprint, Kiviyachal, so to speak, in Atzilus. Okay. And then you have Malchus, and Malchus corresponds to parts of Nukba. Malchus means kingship, Nukba means the female. The female attribute is physical creation, which is like the earth, that you saw a seed in the earth, and a plant grows, a tree grows. So that seed, perfect potential, that's the spiritual realms, the Shamayim, the heavens. Okay. The earth is this physical world, where the spiritual things become implanted, and they grow and blossom in blessings that manifest themselves in this world. And we are the conduit for that. All that exists in man. That's why man was created to keep the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is the world, Hashem's world. Hashem's brachas coming down in Bana Chayim Zayna Revicha and Kol Inyanim that a person needs are fulfilled and are becoming kelim for beautiful gilui, revelation of Hashem's bracha. Obviously in Galus this whole structure gets disturbed, but this is how the 10 spheres are supposed to work. From Chochma-Wisdom, which is the drop, the point of perfect intellect, of nothing and something merged together. The lightning, the Barak HaMavrik, the lightning thought, primordial thought with everything that's included in it. And Bina, which is the intellect where this thing becomes, this is the source of Zah of Atzilus. This is Chochma and Bina of Atzilus. Das is already the birth of Zah. We won't talk about Das in this context. But, so Chochma of Atzilus corresponds to parts of Abba. And every Abba and every partzuf has 10 spheres. So there's Chochma of Abba, there's Bina of Abba, there's the 6 spheres of Zah of Abba, and one of those spheres is Yesod of Abba. Yesod of Abba is a very important point though, because we know spheres of Yesod corresponds to connection. The creative union in all the different levels of the world, the union of male and female, in all the spiritual realms and down to the physical union, the sexual union in this world, comes from Yesod. Foundation. That's the place of the binding. So Yesod of Chochma is that point in Chochma that is binding itself, that is really giving itself. Yesod of Abba, Yesod of the parts of Abba corresponds to Chochma. This is the male Yesod. Yesod of Ima, which is the Yesod of Bina, of understanding, of that intellect. The intellect acts like a womb that receives the spark in Chochma. And this merger together, now talking about the world of Atzilus, in a perfectly abstract world, but in that world, the blueprint for everything that comes later. So that connects to Yesod of Ima. And Yesod and Abba and Yesod of Ima come together, create Das. What's Das? Consciousness. So this is the first consciousness in the world of Atzilus. Before that, there's no consciousness. There's a spark of a thought, there's a womb for that thought called an intellect. There is a supernal intellect, a godly intellect, which is the primordial levels of godliness, of Elokus, that are revealed to give later birth to real creation, information, to Bri, Tzir, and Asir. So we're in the world of Atzilus. This is the problem with Kabbalah. This is the challenge with Kabbalah, really. You have to remember you're in the world of Atzilus and you have to look at it there. So that's Yesod Abba. Now Yesod Abba happens to be also the source of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu has a source in Yesod Abba. Why? Because Yesod Abba is the point of revealing the Torah. It's where the Torah, which is Chochma, we know the Torah has its source in Chochma V'Atzilus, in exactly this level. Chochma V'Atzilus is the source of the Torah. But the Torah is the means for Or Ein Sof to be revealed in the world, in the Oifen of Memalek Olam. The Or Ein Sof is mislabish, it's garbed in Chochma V'Atzilus, and from there it's able to be garbed in all the different levels until it gets to the actual concepts and halacha and the stories and everything that's in the Torah, which is a form for a human intellect to bind to the godly intellect. And this is the union of God and man. So this all comes from Yesod Abba. This is where Moshe Rabbeinu comes from. Now, normally, this madrega of Yesod Abba, this level of Yesod Abba, is the source of all of creation. And it's the blueprint. Everything that is going to be and everything that is going to manifest in this world is really a revelation of this level of Yesod Abba. But it's revealed in Nukba. It's kind of like I mentioned before, the seed being sowed in the earth in order to be revealed in a plant, in a tree.